Hi, I'm Colleen with MuralMaker More. Today we're going to do a little painting tutorial on pears, golden pears. Real easy, fun, great for the holiday season or any time of the year. So let's get started. First thing we're going to do is base coat the pear with a little light yellow. This particular shade by Plaid Folk Art is called Lemonade. Any light yellow will work. Plaid Folk Art tends to have better coverage than some of the other paints, but they all will work right on this. So just fill in the whole shape of the pear with light yellow. Now we're going to add a little shaping to the pear with antique gold, which is just a little bit deeper than the well, it's a lot deeper than the yellow. You definitely want to get the edges, and I'm starting where the pear is at. It kind of indents in from the top and the bottom. I'm starting there, okay? So I'm just going to do a little bit on the outline, and then right. You can go either way, it doesn't matter. You can brush either way. But then right across, and you can see how that starts to make this part pop out a little bit. We'll do the same thing. We're going to go do everything except what you would call the roundest part here and the roundest part here. That's what we're going to do. We're going to actually shade with this antique gold. Okay? You don't want a real opaque application. So you do want to keep a fairly moist brush, not dripping, but moist. Okay? As long as your paint glides on the paper or canvas, that's what you want. And then we're going to come down and do this as well. When it starts to drag like that, I'm going to rinse my brush with some water and then blot it dry, and then watch what happens. See, it's smooth again, the flow of the paint, and that's what we want. Working it towards the inside, just like that. We're going to come all the way around, doing the edges and in, but leaving this part. Now I've got the edges shaded a bit with the antique gold. I'm going to use a fairly wet brush, again not dripping, and I'll pick up some of the gold and work it back and forth on my palette foam plate. Okay, it's dragging, so my brush is too dry. So a little bit of water, blot it off, and you can work it that way. And I want almost the entire pear covered. If it gets a little streaky, that's okay, because it'll just give you a little bit more dimension to the pear, and that's what we want. We're going to leave just a tiny bit here and there of that light lemonade. Okay, if it gets too streaky, add some water, blot, and smooth it out. Now we're going to go even a little deeper, same color, antique gold, right in this area, in this area, I'm letting it dry, that's why I'm moving from area to area, and then down at the base, and then back again up in this area. You see what that starts to do? How it gives it more of that pear shape that we're looking for. Okay. If it starts to drag, wet your brush, blot it. You can put some up at the top as well. It's a little bit too wet. And then right in the center. Wetting my brush again. You see how it got a little too dark? Just work it into the paper or canvas if you're working on canvas or wood. We're going to leave just that little, it almost becomes a highlight at that point. Now, we could have done the gold first and then come back with some of the yellow and added yellow, which you can do. If you come a little too heavy with the gold, come back with the yellow. That'll work too. Okay? Now, you see where I've added more of the antique gold here, down here, even a streak here and up at the top. You could actually add a stem, call it a day. You completed a nice little golden pear. But if you want to add even a little more, what we're going to do is take some Raw Sienna, which is this wonderful caramel color. It's going to scare you at first. Don't panic. It's going to really set the gold tones off in the pear. You want a nice, again, moist brush, not dripping. And it does take some time to know how much water, how much paint. It just takes doing this a few times, but you'll get it very, very quickly. Into the darkest areas of shading. Just a touch of that Raw Sienna. It's going to warm this pear up, give it some extra dimension, extra layers. See what happens? Again, if your brush starts to drag, get some more water in it, blot it on your paper towel, and work that Raw Sienna into your canvas, or in this case, watercolor paper. Guess I didn't tell you I'm working on watercolor paper. Now, you can add a sheer layer, and by sheer I mean I've got more water than I do paint, onto the body of the pear. Okay, that stopped right there. If you catch it real quick, you can still work it. If it doesn't, then go ahead and add some of your either base coat or your antique gold back to it. And it's just paint. You can add as many layers as you want. You see where I've left this kind of light up here? I'm going to put the stem there, and what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pencil it in so you can see it. It'll be on the pattern if you want it, but you just need a little mark of where the stem's going to go. Okay? And the way we're going to do that is we're going to highlight up to the front and shade within. So, since your lighter paints are covered more easier by your darkest paints, we're going to start with the highlighting. Right along that edge, we're going to add, and you've got to work it into the rest of the pear, blend it in. But if it looks too obvious, we can add some gold to it, the antique gold. Okay, and then it will all work together. Make sense? Okay, too blotchy, add some water, and you'll get it to smooth out. See how that works? Now, this inside here, go ahead with your Raw Sienna and just paint that little semicircle. Obviously a smaller brush would be easier, but we're just making do with what we got here today. Just enough to give you that little indentation. I don't know what it's called. What is it called? Okay, now we need to do the stem. So you can do Raw Sienna, and if you have a liner brush it's going to be a whole lot easier. And that, it'll give you an idea of a stem. But if you have a little darker brown, that's going to be a little better. But we'll start right now with this. And then that seemed pretty easy, didn't it? It is. Just takes a little bit of practice. I hope you'll check back again with MuralMaker and More, and we'll do some more painting tutorials for the fall season and then move on into Christmas. Have a great day.